The afternoon light filtered through the curtains, creating soft patterns across the hardwood floor. Robert sat on the edge of the bed, fingers tracing the delicate lace trim of Sarah's dress that lay carefully spread out beside him. The deep blue fabric caught the light in a way that made it almost shimmer. "She won't be home until tomorrow evening," he whispered to himself, the words both a reassurance and permission. Robert and Sarah had been married for 3 years. They shared everything. There was one part of himself that Robert had kept hidden, even from her. The urge to try on her clothes had started small, just a curious thought now and then. But lately it had grown stronger, especially when Sarah was away visiting her parents. With trembling hands, Robert picked up the dress. It was Sarah's favorite, the one she wore to special dinners. The fabric felt cool and smooth against his skin as he held it to his chest. Just once, he told himself. Just to know what it feels like. He slipped off his t-shirt and jeans, standing in just his boxers. For a moment, he caught his reflection in the full-length mirror. Broad shoulders, slight stubble, short brown hair. His heart raced as he carefully stepped into the dress, pulling it up over his hips. The zipper was tricky to manage on his own, but after a few attempts, he got it most of the way up. The dress was snug in some places and loose in others. It wasn't made for his body, but somehow that didn't matter. Robert turned slowly, watching how the fabric moved with him. Something about the sensation made him feel lighter, like he was connecting with a part of himself that had been waiting patiently to be acknowledged. "Oh," he breathed, surprised by the person looking back at him in the mirror. His fingers brushed against Sarah's makeup drawer. Before he could think too much about it, he opened it and picked up her mascara. He'd watched her apply it hundreds of times, the careful stroke of the wand, the way she blinked to avoid smudges. Mimicking her movements, he applied a light coat to his lashes. It wasn't perfect, but it made his eyes look different, deeper somehow. A little blush on his cheeks, a swipe of lip gloss. Each addition was like adding a brushstroke to a painting that had always existed underneath. "Is this still me?" he wondered aloud, touching his reflection in the mirror. The question wasn't fearful, just curious. The doorbell rang, startling him so badly he nearly fell over. No, 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 he muttered, panic rising in his chest. Who could that be? Sarah wasn't due back, and they weren't expecting any packages. The bell rang again, more insistent this time. Robert quickly grabbed a tissue and tried to wipe off the makeup, but the mascara smudged under his eyes. There was no time to change. Whoever it was would give up and leave soon enough. Then his phone buzzed with a text. It was Jennifer, Sarah's sister. "Hey, I'm at your door. Sarah asked me to pick up her birthday present for Mom. Said you'd have it ready." Robert's stomach dropped. He'd completely forgotten that Sarah had mentioned this. The present was wrapped and waiting on the desk in their home office. "Just a minute," he called out, his voice cracking slightly. He looked around frantically. There was no time to change and fix his appearance. After a moment of paralyzed indecision, something inside him shifted. A strange calm washed over him. "It's just Jennifer," he told himself. If anyone would understand. Taking a deep breath, Robert opened the bedroom door and walked carefully down the hallway. Each step in the slightly too small dress required attention. When he reached the front door, he paused, hand on the knob, and then opened it. Jennifer stood on the porch, scrolling through her phone. When she looked up, her eyes widened, first in shock, then in confusion. She opened her mouth to speak, closed it again. "I can explain," Robert said, his voice soft. "Or I can try to anyway." Jennifer tilted her head slightly. "You don't have to," she said finally. The lack of judgment in her voice made something tight in Robert's chest begin to unwind. "Can I come in?" Robert stepped aside, acutely aware of how the dress swished around his legs as he moved. They sat at the kitchen table, the wrapped present between them like a small island. "How long?" Jennifer asked gently. "I don't know exactly," Robert replied, looking down at his hands. The remnants of lip gloss caught the light. "It's always been there, I think. Just underneath everything else." Jennifer nodded slowly. "Does Sarah know?" The question hung in the air. Robert shook his head. "I've been afraid to tell her. What if she doesn't understand? What if it changes how she sees me? My sister loves you," Jennifer said simply. The real you. All of you. She reached across the table and squeezed his hand. And for what it's worth, that color really brings out your eyes. A laugh bubbled up from somewhere deep inside Robert, surprise and relief mingling together. It felt good to be seen, really seen, for the first time. I don't know what this means, he admitted. I don't know if it's just curiosity or something more. I just know that when I put this on, something feels right. You don't have to have all the answers right now, Jennifer told him. But I think you should talk to Sarah. Robert nodded, knowing she was right. Later that evening, after Jennifer had gone, Robert carefully removed the dress and hung it back in Sarah's closet. He washed the makeup from his face, watching as the water carried away the physical evidence of his afternoon. But something had changed. A door had been opened that couldn't be closed again. He picked up his phone and started typing a message to Sarah. Finding the words was difficult, but he knew he needed to try. I have something important to share with you when you get home. He wrote, then paused. It's about me, something I'm just beginning to understand. I love you, and I hope you'll help me figure it out. His finger hovered over the send button. The future felt both terrifying and full of possibility, like standing at the edge of an unknown sea. He stared at the message for a long moment, heart thudding in his chest. So much of his life had been spent keeping certain feelings hidden. Not just from Sarah, but from himself. For years, he'd told himself it didn't matter, that curiosity didn't mean anything. That putting it all in a box, locking it tight, and throwing away the key was the best way to keep things simple. Safe. But safety had come at a cost, a quiet, persistent ache that never quite went away. He thought about how many times he'd passed by Sarah's closet, fingers brushing lightly against the fabrics, wondering silently what it would feel like to step into a different version of himself. He thought about the weight of shame, how it clung to him in small moments, how even imagining the truth of what he wanted made his stomach twist with guilt. But then there was today. The lightness. The way the fabric moved, how it made something in him settle instead of spin. He still didn't have answers. He didn't even have the right questions yet. But maybe he thought that was okay. Maybe the beginning of understanding didn't have to be loud or certain, just honest. Taking a deep breath, Robert pressed send and watched the message disappear into the digital ether. Tomorrow, Sarah would come home. Tomorrow they would talk. Tomorrow, a new chapter would begin. But tonight, Robert curled up in bed, wrapped in the memory of blue fabric and the unexpected kindness in Jennifer's eyes. For the first time in years, he felt fully present in his own skin, even as he was discovering what that truly meant.